Furniture stores look like some of the most profitable businesses in retail. A sofa can cost $5,000. A dining table can sell for more than a used car. Mattresses carry markups that sound extreme, and yet most furniture retailers barely make any money. Some struggle even during strong housing markets. Others fail as soon as demand softens. The contradiction isn't that furniture is expensive, it's that selling expensive products doesn't create durable profits. The economic tension is unforgiving. Furniture retail pairs high prices with slow sales velocity. Inventory is expensive to make, slow to sell, and costly to store and deliver. The more selection a store carries to attract customers, the more capital it traps. The more aggressively it discounts to drive volume, the thinner margins become. Furniture retailers operate in a narrow band between not having enough inventory to convert shoppers and having too much inventory to survive. This industry matters because it exposes a common misunderstanding about profitability. High prices feel like a proxy for high margins. Furniture breaks that intuition. Profitability depends less on what customers pay and more on how long cash is tied up, how rigid costs are, and how quickly mistakes compound. Furniture economics begin months before a customer enters a showroom. Most products are manufactured far in advance, often overseas or through capital-intensive domestic facilities. Lead times are long. Retailers place large orders based on forecasts that are rarely accurate. Once those orders are placed, cash leaves the business. From that moment, the retailer owns the risk. Inventory velocity is the central constraint. Inventory turn measures how often inventory is sold and replaced each year. Grocery stores might turn inventory 20 times. Apparel retailers might turn 6 or more. Furniture often turns once, sometimes less. Capital sits idle for months. Gross margins can look healthy, but returns on invested capital are weak because money is locked inside unsold product. Physical showrooms intensify the problem. Customers want to see and test furniture. That forces retailers into large footprints with high rent and heavy build-out costs. Displays consume space. Commissioned sales staff raise labor expenses. Every square foot must perform, yet many items may sit for weeks without selling. Logistics add another layer of friction. Furniture is bulky, fragile, and expensive to move. Shipping from factories is costly. Warehousing is costly. Last mile delivery is one of the most margin destructive activities in retail. Missed deliveries, damage, and scheduling failures are common. Returns are worse. Returned furniture is rarely resold as new and often becomes clearance inventory or a loss. Discounting is not a strategy in furniture retail. It is embedded in the model. List prices are inflated to create room for promotions. Customers are trained to wait for sales. Financing makes large purchases feel affordable, but introduces fees that quietly erode net revenue. When demand slows, promotional pressure intensifies. Revenue can rise while profits fall. This creates a system that appears stable during good times and fragile underneath. That tension is clear when looking at Rooms to Go. Rooms to Go seems built to solve furniture retail's problems. It operates at national scale. It owns manufacturing and distribution. It sells standardized room packages that simplify decisions. Vertical integration should reduce costs and increase resilience. For years, it supported growth. Owning the supply chain reduced reliance on third-party suppliers. Assortments were streamlined. Advertising and financing drove volume. During housing booms, sales expanded quickly. But vertical integration didn't remove the constraint. It amplified it. Owning manufacturing required committing to production far in advance. Forecast errors became more expensive. When demand slowed, excess inventory didn't just sit on showroom floors, it accumulated in factories and warehouses. Capital was tied up at multiple layers. Orders couldn't be canceled, suppliers couldn't be swapped. The company owned the inventory problem end to end. The inflection point came as demand softened and promotions escalated. Discounts deepened, financing expanded, margins compressed, delivery costs rose. Each sale contributed less toward fixed costs. The business looked active, cash flow tightened. The response followed a familiar pattern: more advertising, more promotions, broader assortments to stimulate demand. These moves supported revenue, but increased balance sheet pressure. Inventory aged. Warehousing costs climbed. Write-down risk grew quietly. The problem wasn't disappearing demand. People still needed furniture. The problem was rigidity. Vertical integration increased exposure to slow inventory turns instead of reducing it. Control came at the cost of flexibility. Scale magnified the impact of being wrong. This pattern repeats across the industry. Growth often masks structural fragility. Revenue expansion encourages larger inventory bets. Larger bets raise fixed costs. When conditions change, the unwind is fast. Online furniture retailers learned this as well. Removing showrooms reduced rent but increased return rates. Shipping bulky items directly to consumers created new failure points. Customer acquisition costs rose. Many digital-first brands discovered that technology couldn't fix inventory physics. Several eventually opened physical stores, rebuilding the same cost structure they tried to avoid. The broader lesson extends beyond furniture. High prices do not guarantee high profitability. Businesses with slow inventory turns, heavy logistics exposure, and rigid cost structures are vulnerable to small forecasting errors. They can appear healthy for years while quietly compounding risk. Furniture stores don't struggle because customers don't value their products. They struggle because the system that delivers those products is capital intensive, inflexible, and unforgiving. Margins exist on paper. Friction consumes them in reality. That's why so many furniture stores last for decades and still fail. Not suddenly, gradually, one inventory decision at a time.